Hello and welcome to the Video Game AV Club. And yes, I hear you and I know that this isn't technically based on a video game. This is more based on book slash other TV show. We watched The Witcher.
The animated Witcher, which is called The Nightmare of the Wolf. And we're diving full in Witcher. So
because we're reading the
.5 book.
And the prequel book.
The prequel book that's not a prequel.
I guess. Yeah. I don't know.
And then this is an actual prequel. Reddit calls it a fan fiction, which
is a terrible critique, and I'll stand by. If you call something a fan fiction as a critique, it's what everything is.
It's a true story. Yeah,
that's legitimately what everything is.
I like your characters, and I'm gonna create a.
That's a bad. That's just like, oh, did you know it's a movie? That's what it sounds like to me.
True. Ugh. So this came out in 2021. The anime is from a Korean studio. There is a live action version of this.
Apparently.
Which we were also not aware of, which is awesome. So this is on Netflix.
Yeah.
And the live action version, which is called something different.
It's like Blood Origin is the live action version. Netflix. It's weird that they made a live action version. You should look up Blood Origin and see it when it came out.
And they came out the same year.
That's weird.
2021, they came out like at the same time. But this is like Korean and that was American.
Online, it said that they wanted to talk about Vesemir before you meet him in season Who Gives a Shit of The Witcher. So, like, they did it twice. Why would they do it twice? Where people like, I would never watch an anime. Dirty weeb, I'm not going to watch it. So they're like, oh man, people aren't going to watch our anime. We have to make a live action thing. Like, how did that work?
I have seen people we've seen people redo movies that were identical. Well, there was one, I think it was Death at a Funeral. It might have been, but Chris Rock saw it because it's a really funny British movie. Chris Rock saw it and was like, I can do that. And so like 2 years later, he redoes the exact same movie, but he has like an all black cast, except for Peter Dinklage, who plays the exact same character that he did in the other one.
That's kind of funny.
Get it, Peter Dinklage.
But like, why? Why make two of the same thing, one animated, one live action? That doesn't make any sense
to me. It's a split in the audience.
Same year? But you're telling the same story.
That's true.
This is so unnecessary and what a waste of resources.
And
did this not do well? But then you wouldn't know because it came out the same year. It's not like this didn't do well. And then they were like, but we really have to get across Vesemir. He's so important.
The live action one was a limited series. So this is a movie and it was, I forgot how long it was.
Did they just really like this movie and they were like, what if we just
it has some
put real people in it?
Big name people. The live action one is a limited series, but they were limited. So we
this seems like a cash grab.
We're taking because we did not watch both of them. Sorry, not sorry. But
I won't watch anything like I won't watch any live action remake of anything ever again.
From someone who has seen it, who has seen both, they're like, it's pretty the same. Except for in the animated series,
it's better. Or the fight scenes are better.
The graphics and they're able to do stuff that they couldn't do live action. Yeah. So, this got 100% from critics on Rotten Tomato and had an 83%. What would you rate this movie?
I mean, it's a Witcher thing. It didn't have a sex scene, which was amazing.
Which was weird.
But it did have full frontal nudity, which is a Witcher thing.
And you saw the Witcher's butt.
Yeah.
Which is also
full frontal lady nudity, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
The Witcher's, like,
I mean, you see his abs, and it goes down almost, and then
every Witcher thing has to have a full frontal lady, and you have to have intense gore. That's important.
Also, the full frontal, really just a warning, the full frontal nudity of the lady is because she has, like, a demon coming out of her. It's not that's not her.
Tongue. It's Ketsu.
Oh, it's the elf. Both, because
she didn't show her clam. But the elf did.
Yeah, the elf was totally naked.
Yeah, so.
But she was also like mutated, so.
So it's okay.
I don't know.
Witcher.
So the synopsis that I'll pull up here on IMDb because it's really short. Escaping from poverty to become a witcher, Vesemir slays monsters for coin and glory, but when a new menace arises, he must face the demons of his past. Accurate, not accurate?
I wouldn't say he has to face the demons of his past, really.
It's more the fact that he has an attachment of his past.
Yeah,
So he's
I
got
guess,
a girlfriend
but it's
that
not really. It's not really the
60
problem.
years later is like.
I wouldn't say that's the problem here.
No, it's that whole Jedi attachment.
Mm. It's also a really short movie. It's only like an hour and 20 minutes.
Yeah, it was. I don't know.
Interesting to. Oh, you go ahead.
Oh, I'm gonna go through some of the names and the actors and stuff.
Go ahead.
So our main character obviously is Vesemir, and that is voiced by Theo James, who probably is best known for the Divergent series. He was on the White Lotus, but most people know from that. Mary McDonnell plays his special lady love, Lady Zerbst.
Yeah, Zerbst.
Mary McDonnell is an established actress. I probably best know her from Dances with Wolves. That's kind of an older movie. Our villain is Tetra, and she is voiced by Laura. Well, she's kind of a biatch the moment you see her.
Yeah, but just because you're a bitch doesn't mean you're a villain.
Laura Pulver,
sorceress, by the way, which we all know they're all villains.
Yes.
Anti-sorceress squad over here.
It's like elves, you're either awful or sorceress.
No, the elves are in The Witcher. They lost the war, so they're just sad.
But in a lot of sci-fi, they're like the snooty, like.
Oh, yeah. I see.
Laura Pulver was in or fantasy. Sorry guys, it's late. Laura Pulver was in Sherlock. She plays Irene Adler.
Sherlock's weird girlfriend thing.
His nemesis, that's a lady.
Yeah,
that's also his girlfriend.
Yeah.
We have Deglin, is voiced by Graham McTavish, and he is probably best known for, well, he was a dwarf in The Hobbit, but he's also in Outlander.
Okay.
And
he plays Vesemir's Witcher teacher.
Yes, the OG Witcher. And then we have Philavandrel. Is that the elf?
I'm assuming. That elf talks so quietly. I was like, how can you hear this guy? He's like whispering.
And that's Tom Canton. He's actually plays Philavandrel in the Witcher series.
Cool.
Yeah. So he kind of looks like an elf too. So that is. There's a bunch of other people in the cast.
There's a bunch of actual voice actors in the cast.
Oh, Nolan North's in there somewhere too, right?
Yeah. So is what's her name?
Jennifer Hale?
Yeah, Jennifer Hale. She plays the younger version of his girlfriend.
Carrie Walgren.
Yeah, Carrie Walgren
is Kitsu, who I guess technically is.
Does Kitsu even say anything?
She does, kind of.
Yeah, so we got
North's name. Who was he?
I don't know. Maybe one of the Witcher kids.
There he is. Handsome Knight.
Oh, he's the knight who dies. That's so great.
Yeah, so there's some other well-known voice actors. Okay, are we ready to...
Yeah, so we're going to talk about the entire plot and spoil it for you. So go watch it if you don't want spoilers. I mean, we already kind of spoiled it in a way. So you're a little too late.
If you're watching it, you know what you're getting into.
For your loss.
You can tell who the villain is.
So I didn't. Just gonna jump into it. So it starts out with...
There's a song. And
it starts with a song.
Creepy, and it's about this merchant getting murdered for his bracelet while he's in the woods, and turns out it's a kid who has to pee.
Yeah.
Who's singing the song.
We start out with a creepy song, and then we see a kid peeing on like a shrine thing.
Yeah, it's an elf shrine, or a statue, or a bust, or whatever it was, and he's singing the song, which is weird.
It's freaking out his sisters and dad. His sisters are freaking out in the caravan that they're in, and he's like, stop singing that song, and the dad is trying to pull weeds off of the cart because it's
there's like these crazy vines, and of course he pricks his finger.
Yeah.
And then don't scare your sisters. Then a vine goes through his head and explodes it right in front of the girls.
Yeah.
So we start with
gore.
Death, gore, traumatization of children. Yes, peeing.
And peeing. Of course, gotta have Witcher stuff.
So the girls...
At least it didn't start out with a sex scene.
That's true. I was surprised.
I'm surprised, too.
Well, there was kids at the beginning, so I was like, what is happening?
I'm worried.
And so the girls run and the boy runs and the vines explode.
The vines kill the girls.
Kill the horses.
And the horses.
Of the carriage. And then they grab the girls as they're running and this kid is left. And then we see...
He runs into our protagonist, Vesemir. He's just in
young Vesemir.
Yes, young Vesemir.
Who has like it's not a goatee. It's like a thin beard, like well-trimmed beard mustache.
Yeah, he looks like an asshole.
He does. He looks like a dude, bro.
Yeah, he looked like he'd be wearing a gold chain and talking about...
With some Ray-Bans.
I bet he would smell weird.
I bet you he's into Bitcoin, too.
Yeah. Anyway, so he's there. He's like, oh, it's this monster. And he's like talking to the monster as he fights it because he's trying to like Spider-Man the freaking monster.
It's quippy. And then he's like, haha, you can't talk.
So I'm just gonna just keep fighting it.
It's foreplay is what this is, but you can't talk, so this is now weird.
But it does talk. Because after he does manage to slay it, it says a few words, and he's like, that's super...
But in Elven, like in a
weird,
language like you don't know.
He's like, that's weird. Why did it say words? So he decides to... Well, one, he tells the little boy... Because the little boy's like, I don't have anywhere to go.
I'm royal blood.
Like, and apparently, because it cuts to the little boy crying in front of...
The king or the court?
The mage lady.
Oh.
Our villain, as we spoiled for you, Tetra. But he was crying, and he's like, the Witcher just told me to put on a sad face. And
that's right, because she does weird things with his tears.
Hope that I get hitchhiked, and...
She's like, well, what about your sisters? He's like...
Put on a sad face so that they'd pick him up and stuff. And she's like, oh, Witcher's gross. I hate them. So I'm going to go talk to the king.
Can I say, like, you don't find out what her freaking deal is with Witchers until the very end of the movie.
You can tell she has a thing about him. But, like, everyone has a thing about him. She just seems,
like, super racist.
Everyone has a thing about Witchers. And it makes sense. They are kind of douchebags.
That and, like, they're a necessary evil.
But they were made because of evil, right? You get a lot of Witcher lore in this, which I think is interesting. Like, good stuff to know.
Yeah, I think it's a good introduction. I thought it was really entertaining. I thought it was more entertaining than the Mass Effect movie that we watched.
It tells you a lot more.
I think if you didn't know anything about The Witcher, you would be fine watching it.
Yeah, I think this might be a good start.
Unless you're not into gore and violence, then this is not for
boobies.
You. Or boobies. Or children crying.
Or peeing.
Monsters.
Bathtub scenes, maybe. Disclaimer.
And so Tetra goes to the king, right? And it was like, Witchers suck.
We should kill them. And the king's like checking his face.
He's like, where is your evidence? He's like your
stereotypical like Lord Farquaad ass looking king with the mustache. And
there's an older lady there, and she's like, show me the receipts,
like,
Tetra.
Witchers are fine.
Like,
we need them to slay the monster.
Dying.
Obviously, this Witcher slayed a monster. Like, what's your deal? And the king's like, yeah, whatever that old lady said. You're right. I don't want to do anything about this. So.
Then we get to the bathtub scene.
Yeah, so Vesemir likes to spend his money.
Yeah.
Because he looted that kid's family.
Yeah, he did.
He looted their corpses and took all their stuff, and that was his payment because Witcher's got to get paid.
Yep. I
definitely thought he might take the kid, but he sell money, so he's fine.
Yeah,
he's not the type that I think
he's
that
in
would
it for
take
him.
The kids. So yeah, he spends all that on a fancy hotel room. I'm assuming that's what that was.
That has like a spa in the room.
Yeah,
and he's drinking a bunch of wine, and he's eating a bunch of
food
fruit
everywhere. And he invited this elf that he knows that owes him a favor
because he's got to translate. He's like, hey, this thing said something to me. I don't know what it means.
But he's like taking a bath while he's telling him the translation, which is
he's totally naked in front of this elf. And this elf is just like, God, this guy.
This freaking guy.
Not another favor.
So he translates it, and it's basically like...
Stay out of my den.
Stay out of my den.
And he's like, well, that's weird. Why would you...
Yeah.
It's a weird thing to say to someone.
Strange. And anyway, the elf asks him for help, right? He's like, there's a bunch of female elves that are missing.
Mm-hmm.
And he's like, not my problem.
Yeah.
Are you going to pay me? No? All right, then I don't want to do it.
Not a monster thing.
Not my thing.
Because in this world, there was a war between the elves and the humans.
Yeah,
and
the dwarves and the elves.
And they lost.
Non-humans versus humans, and they lost because they had the help of the sorceresses.
Yeah. Playing dirty.
You
see that aftermath a little later on.
So that, yeah, he translates it. He asks him for help. Vesemir's like, nah. And then what
No,
happens?
bro, not my
What happens
problem.
next?
Is this where they go back in time and you see young?
Yeah, because then you cut between
It goes like this crazy
older
lady,
Vesemir. It's like 70-year-old Vesemir versus
like 12-year-old Vesemir.
12-year-old, maybe like 18. He looks kind of older.
He's like a teenager though,
Okay, maybe
because
like 12.
he eventually will leave to join the Witchers, and don't you have to be like younger for that?
I don't know if
I
there's
don't know
an
what the
age.
age
There's
limit.
probably an age limit. Yeah, so he works at this estate where this lady is possessed by a demon.
And he like no one likes him,
Yeah.
and they think he's worthless
His
because
dad works there.
he tied a double knot, but this demon possessed lady got out of it, and they're like, I told you to tie a double knot. He's like, I did.
They're like, don't be useless. Go to the market.
Give me a towel and go
Get
to the
some
market.
root or
Yeah.
whatever to cure her ails. And so he's going to the market, but then he runs into his other servant friend,
Special lady friend.
Ileana, right? That's
Yeah.
her name? Okay. Yeah.
And she's blonde and she likes to throw snow at him.
Yeah,
like
that's
all
her,
the time.
That's her personality type. Likes to throw snow.
And they're like, so life sucks for us because we're servants. And she's like, it could be worse. At least we have a house.
The world of The Witcher sucks.
Well, it's like feudalism.
Everything sucks there.
Yeah.
Like
gross and smelly Middle Ages.
it looks like garbage.
Well, that they show the servants' quarter and it looks
It's
like
a
a prison
barn.
camp.
It's a barn where they all just sleep on piles of hay.
Yeah, it's like
a bunch of
it looks
them.
like a bunch of little cots. It looks like a prison camp.
Yeah. So he's like, why don't we take this money and we buy some cake?
And then steal the root
And then
that we
steal
need.
the root that we need.
I'm like, why can't you steal the cake?
Because maybe stealing the root's easier than stealing the cake.
So they have this whole bait and switch where he steals other fruit and the merchant chases him, and then she takes freaking forever to go in and steals the root, but then she gets spotted
by the Witcher guy.
Who is gross.
I forgot his name.
Devlin? Is it Devlin?
I don't know.
Un momento, por favor.
Yeah, so he steals the fruit and then runs, and then the merchant chases him, and then he drops.
It's Deglin. I was close.
Deglin. He drops the fruit and grabs and pays the guy and doesn't steal the cake, but he pays the guy for the cake.
So he's in this alleyway like stuffing cake in his face, and she's like,
"Take some for me." And then she doesn't even get to eat any.
They're about to kiss, and then they get interrupted.
The Witcher's like, "Oh, I saw you steal that. That was pretty good."
Yeah. He's like, for what? And he like grabs the root out of her hand, and
well, he knows what that root's for.
Yeah,
so he's like,
he's been listening to rumors about a lady being.
He's like, I know there's a lady possessed
exorcist.
in here. I think a job. I'm sniffing out a job here. So he's gonna go.
Take me to your lady.
It definitely, because when he was like, "Oh, it's easier to fight with a sword," I was like, "Oh my god, he's gonna kill that lady."
Yeah, I thought he was just gonna stab her too.
Because
he tells everyone to get out, and then
let me fix this ailment. Stab.
Yeah, I wanna stay.
Well, that was the problem when we were reading the books. Spoilers for our book episode. Remember when the guy hired all those witchers, and the witchers were like, "I'm not gonna capture, or reverse the curse. I'm just gonna kill the lady."
Yeah, he's like,
"No, don't kill the lady." And they're like, "Well, then I'm not gonna do it."
Yeah.
So witchers are dumb. They can reverse the curse.
I guess it depends on how good of a witch you are. It's like, I'm not putting myself in danger to save a princess. But so he like extracts like a spider from her, which will become important because this thing creates like hallucinations. Mm-hmm. And so of course the kid drops it because he sucks.
Oh yeah, the kid wants to stay and watch the exorcism go down.
So
with the Witcher.
The spider causes the lady to lose her shirt, which is the Witcher.
Yeah, she rips her shirt off, which is Witcher.
Yeah. And
so Witcher.
She then like regurgitates this thing out after trying to attack the Witcher, and then the kid tries to catch it. It's a spider. It turns into his girlfriend, and then the Witcher throws a knife at it. And
he's like, "Well, better dead than out there."
It looks like he stabs the girlfriend, but really it's like a spider. It's like It's the spider from It.
Creepy spider with like a human face.
Yeah.
Looking thing.
And so he puts it in a pillowcase because that's his proof. Because as a Witcher, you have to have proof in order to get paid. And then
he gets paid.
And he's got a big old bag of coin, and he throws 2 at the.
He's like, "Thanks for your help," and he throws 2 at the
you
kid.
You too can make a lot of money.
And the kid's like, "I want to join the Witchers," and he's like, "Oh yeah, what about your little girlfriend? Would you want to leave her?" And then he hesitated, which a Witcher never hesitates.
I feel like they hesitate all the time.
They hesitate all the time.
It's Jedi attachment stuff. I keep comparing this to freaking Star Wars. I'm sorry.
They're a little worse than Jedi, I think.
Well, I don't know. That guy killed all the The kids.
They're scumbags, witchers.
And
not all of them. Obviously, the ones that we are watching are the decent ones.
Yeah, that's true. So he has like a crisis at 12, 14. I don't know how old this kid is. But the girlfriend's throwing snow at him, and he's like, "Don't you want a life better than this?" And she's like,
"I'll just pretend that I do.
Yeah.
I'm okay.
And pretend that I have a house on a lake, and we have wine picnics all the time. Sounds great."
Yeah.
He's like, "I want adventure in the Great White somewhere." Turn it into Belle.
So he decides that night that he's gonna leave and go to Kaer Morhen, where all of the witchers go for the winter.
Did he just take those 2 coins and buy her another cake? Because he leaves a cake under her bed.
Yeah, he leaves a cake under her bed. I think probably.
And then he's walking in snow, and then he makes it to
Kaer Morhen.
Yeah, which is witcher.
Apparently the witchers, like, they all go out and they do stuff, and then in the winter time, I guess, they all go hibernate in their castle and train up the new recruits.
That makes sense. So ancient warfare... We're talking about ancient Greeks and ancient Rome. There were seasons of war. So you would take the winters off because it sucks that no one wants to be there.
Are the monsters not coming out in the winter? Or
they're having babies in the winter, which is what he says. Because it's like the problem is that they're killing all the monsters. And they're leaving to become mercenaries. And that is what Tetra's like. They're just killers and they'll kill anything. Not just monsters. And they're running out of monsters. So we have to do something about these witches. Monsters. And so the guy's like, well, we'll just wait here all winter and then they'll have babies and we'll have to kill them. So it's a cycle.
I mean, I don't know what's too wrong about becoming just a mercenary. They have the 2 swords.
Yeah.
One for monsters, one for men. Like, does it matter?
No. So the castle, for those of you that are familiar with The Witcher, this is where they train. It is not broken. It's
fine. It looks great.
Great
it looks like
castle.
A giant castle.
And it's very protected. It is where it is. There's one bridge to get to.
Nowhere. Yeah.
And there's a basement with lab experiments.
Yeah, so he goes and volunteers. I don't remember if we cut back to older him or if we're staying as younger him.
I think so he comes up to the castle and then we go back to older him.
Yeah, but then what does he do as older him?
He is at the castle because he has to train the recruits.
That's right. He meets up with all the other witchers and he's like, the other witchers will train the recruits. I don't want to deal with it.
They're just taking these kids. And
if you can't pay the witcher, then they take your kid.
Or people just leave kids there because they have too many kids and they can't feed them.
Yeah.
But they're all male kids.
Yes. Don't even get me started.
Yeah.
Don't even get me started on that.
But if you're unfamiliar, yes, they're young boys.
What's crazy about this is that this anime was like, we can mutate women.
Yeah.
With Ketsu. But
she's an elf. That's different.
Yeah, I guess because they're magical or whatever. But what's insane to me is they're like, oh, women can't handle the Witcher poisonings.
Oh, which is one of the things that we didn't say. So we were saying Katsu because she'll come up later. The elf mentions one of the girls' name that is taken is Katsu.
Yeah. That is important, I guess.
So we'll see Katsu again. So when he sees this elf lady a little bit later, he'll be like, Katsu.
This is probably like my worst thing about The Witcher in general.
About the ladies?
You can't, they're like, oh, ladies can't go through the Witcher training. It's...
No. Well, I mean, most people don't survive it, so...
Doesn't matter.
Yeah. The gross
women die too.
Yeah. A lot of people died in this anime.
Insane. Okay.
So he's got to train the recruits, and he
was talking to head witcher Devlin or whatever.
Yeah, Deglin.
Devin.
We just played Immortal.
Oh.
Immortals of Avium, is that what it is?
Yeah.
And the Devin.
Oh. So he was talking about Deglin, right?
Yeah.
He's talking about how there's not enough monsters, right?
Yeah. Because he was one of the creature that he killed. He's like, it was different. It was like a mutation. And he's like, oh, how? So it was enchanted. And he's like, oh, people are making
monsters.
Which is also important because they are making monsters. And it's not just sorcerers. I don't know who's making. They were talking about who's making monsters. Oh no, elves made the monsters, and then they had to make.
No, the sorcerers make the monsters. The sorcerers made the monsters to get the elves and the dwarves off the territory that they wanted.
And then they had to make the
and then
Witcher
they had to
clean up
make
their
the
problem.
Witchers to clean up their mess.
It's like when you introduce like an invasive species, right? And you're like, oh, well, this will help. And then you're like, oh, crap.
Yeah.
Now we got to get rid of that species. Let's add another species.
So they ask Vesemir to train the recruits.
He's not happy.
He's not happy about it. So he goes outside and the kids are sword fighting.
With real swords.
With real swords. And they're mad at him. They're like, we haven't eaten anything in days. We can't sleep.
Like,
and you want us to fight with real swords out here? We are like 8.
This kid's ass.
Yeah.
Who has the largest eyes. There's one kid that has
There's
really
one
big
kid,
eyes.
Geralt, but he's there.
You don't find that out till the very, very end, though.
Yeah, but you know. You know it's him. Because he's the quietest one. And so, yeah, he kicks Geralt's ass.
Like, throws him into, like, a wooden thing and
is like...
He's like, if you're not... He gives him
don't
the speech.
hesitate or whatever.
And then we get flashbacks because the speech he's giving is the speech that they got from Devlin. Mm-hmm. And they're sleeping in a barn. Like a literal barn. And this kid's crying. He's like, they're gonna poison us.
And he's like, oh yeah, I know about that. And he's asking all the kids, he's like, so did you volunteer for this? And they're like, no.
Who volunteers for this?
Yeah,
crazy?
Who volunteers for this?
No,
my dad told me. And he's like, well, I just abandoned here. And I think you see Vesemir being like, yeah. I'm the only one who volunteered.
He's like, I'm not telling anyone that I volunteered for tribute.
Promises the crying kid. He's like, oh, you'll make it out. It'll be fine. I promise.
Promises.
And then they cut to...
He wakes up in a green
they do this because like I remember in like The Witcher 3, I think the guy, you remember the guy who was really mad about being a Witcher? You have like 3 of them, and he's like, remember when they threw us in a cave with all these monsters and like all of us died?
Spartan kid training. Yeah,
so they did that with these kids. They threw them in a bog and they're like, whichever one makes it out gets to be poisoned. Aren't you guys so lucky?
They have their magic necklaces that vibrate when their monsters are near.
So they just kind of throw them in a monster-infested area and hope that...
Vesemir's like, let's stay together, guys. We'll be fine. And then this thing just comes out and, like, decimate. This is the gory...
So many of these kids are dead.
Yeah, they're, like, missing limbs.
One kid loses his arm, but he is still in the running. He's in the running. Mm-hmm. There's, like, 3 of them that make it.
3 or 4.
3 or 4, yeah. Usually it's 3 or 4 that survive the fight. He made like
it was more than that because after you survive the fight, then they poison you.
No, but like when he woke up there was like 3 of them.
They were in the hospital place, whatever it's called.
3 of them got...
The bed next to him was all bloody and red, though, so someone else... And then they have this like tree in the dining hall where all these bloody...
The ones that did make it.
Medallions are.
They pay tribute to the poor kids.
Very Spartan.
That they threw into the gauntlet.
And so he takes one of the necklaces.
He's really sad that, like, you know, the guy that he promised wouldn't die.
Yeah,
he died.
Yeah.
So he's going and crying in a hallway.
And then the necklace vibrates, and that's where he finds out that
It leads him to a room in Kaer Morhen, and he's like, oh yeah, a sorcerer walks in and is like...
He tells him the history.
Yeah, sometimes the amulets pick up the monsters that we have hidden down here. Anyway, we do like research on the monsters so we know how to defeat that.
He was talking about the mutation though too, and that he's like, some people change the monsters.
Some people are mutating them.
Yeah, he's like, wait, people make monsters? And he's like, yeah, kid.
Where do you think they came from?
Here's the story. So that's where you get the lore of like they created the monsters to get the land, and then they had to create witchers. I
keep wanting to call him Devin.
Devlin.
He comes in. He's like, "Why are you telling this kid this?" And he's like, "He's a witcher.
Devlin.
He should know."
Yeah.
Or he's gonna be, or he's gonna die.
And he's like, "But he's not a witcher yet."
So it doesn't matter. And then we cut to him getting poisoned a bunch.
Yeah.
It's the poisoning.
And they're like vomiting, section. And they're in like
they lock him in a room, like a prison cell.
As or it looks like a lab room.
There was like 5 or 6 of them.
Like
That's quite a few.
Kids. Yeah, because they pull 2 out that are
dead. Yeah. So
and then his eyes change.
Before this happens, before he goes and gets poisoned, when he was talking to the sorcerer underground, because Deglin comes in and is like, "Why are you telling the kid this?" And then he's like, "Kid, you have a note. Someone sent you a letter.
A message. It's by your bed. Read it before I burn it." Right before he gets poisoned. It's the letter from his girlfriend that says, "Our whole town was burnt to the ground. But I got adopted by another family."
And it's
where you find out that she becomes like a prostitute.
I thought she just married the guy's son.
She does, but Tetra makes allusions to the fact that she sold her body.
Oh.
Like, so it's kind of
I don't remember
unspoken.
that scene at all. So
yeah, that lady was a bitch.
I don't remember that. But yeah, she's
I don't
like
say that lightly. So he got poisoned, and his eyes changed. He's a witcher.
He's a witcher. He kept thinking about her note while he was getting poisoned, so he let
the thing that
survived.
You must live your life without me.
Yeah.
And he doesn't think about her ever again.
He did. He listened to the message and he totally forgot that she existed.
What, like 60 years later?
So now he's a witcher and we don't have to worry about going back to kid him.
No. So after training the recruits, they decide to get drunk and they go to a bar because they're turning the recruits. And so they're like, we have to wait to find out who survives. And he's like, we already know who's going to survive. Let's go get drunk.
Yeah.
And then they go to a bar and they're telling their Witcher stories to impress some ladies. And the knights are there and they're like, Witchers suck. You guys are stupid.
Let's fight in this bar.
And of course they kill them.
Yeah.
And then because they kill them, they get arrested.
Mm-hmm.
And they're like,
they're getting tried.
The bartender said that those knights started it, so.
I mean, technically true.
Yeah. Why are you going to pick a fight with a witcher? You're going to die.
And so he is like throwing pebbles at his prison cell. This is Vesemir. And he's like, there's this weird pinging noise in my cell.
The guard's like, you want me to come in there? He's like, yes, please.
He's like, yeah, I'd like you to come in here. I'd like to go somewhere with more food, please. Yeah. And they actually do lock him in like a...
Well, he's like, I need somewhere to piss and like
supply closet.
Bread. Well, so they take him because that's where he's meeting the lady.
Mm-hmm.
The old lady turns out to be his girlfriend, the old lady from the beginning.
Yeah, the old lady that was talking
leave witchers alone
to the king and the sorceress bitch.
Yeah, and she's like, well, there's something in the woods that are killing people. We're going to need you to fix that.
We thought that you killed... the tentacle monster from the beginning that spoke Elven, and that is what they thought was terrorizing that town, but turns out that that's not the case because people are still getting attacked
by something that it's like it could have been another monster. Like, why does that happen? Why do you only allowed to have one monster?
I don't know, because like I don't know, you play the games and you're like, there's monsters everywhere. Because when we were playing it, they're like, oh, we don't need a witcher, and I was like, yeah, I walked 2 steps outside and I got attacked by like a billion things. Anyway, this time everywhere here sucks. Everyone's coughing and spitting on you, and there's monsters everywhere.
Yeah. He's like, well, I'm not going to take you to fight this monster, lady. She's like, I'm 70 years old.
Yeah. She's like, well, it's been a long time.
Yeah. I still love you. I got married.
Yeah, every time he sees honey cake, he thinks of her. So he saw like honey cake in the
She brought it for him, yeah. And so he's taking the Tetra lady, the lady that hates witchers, is going to go with him to fight this monster.
To be his witness.
Yeah.
Because they don't trust him.
And so it's just the two of them, and they're walking around the same forest. They see the same statue.
He's like bragging the whole time. Yeah. She's super irritated.
There's one night around the fire where she tells a story about why she doesn't like witchers, where there is a minister who's being plagued and not feeling well. And so he points to a lady who says is the sorcerer. So the witcher kills the lady, and then he feels better. And he gets jewels. And then come to find out the next day, he finds jewels in the cook's stuff. Why he's looking in the cook stuff? Nosy. And so what he thinks it is that the cook poisoned the master so he would feel sick, and then was in on it with the witcher.
To get because witchers are trying to pull cons to make money because there isn't enough monsters, apparently.
So Vesemir makes the
and he's like,
comment.
Good con.
Like, oh, I wish I would have thought of that. And she's like, you're a stupid face. I hate you. Don't trust you.
Yeah.
Then they come to the same statue, and he's like, oh, we're going in circles. And she's like, no, I know this forest.
Magic tastes weird. And then she licks a leaf, and she's like, yep, that's magic.
That's magic.
And then she breaks the illusion.
And she almost falls off a cliff.
Yeah.
The illusion, she would have walked off the cliff.
And she's like, wow, that's such a powerful illusion magic. I wonder who did this.
Mm-hmm. So we end up in this dead city of elves, which has a really nice library still. And they see on the top of a tall tower is a naked lady.
A naked elf.
And he's like, Ketsu.
Ketsu.
And she says something in Elven.
Like he doesn't want to fight Ketsu, really.
No, he's like...
But Ketsu calls a monster, a flying creature, to attack them instead, so they have this whole fight scene where
with arrows and fire and
they fight this giant flying monster, and they kill it, and Ketsu's like, oh
Yeah,
He, like,
she's super
cries and
sad. It's her
sad.
friend.
Her friend died. Well, she shouldn't have sicked
And
it on a witcher and a
then
sorcerer.
she's gonna cause an avalanche, but she turns into a fox, and then he hits her with a knife,
He throws a knife right before she disappears to the avalanche.
and the knife tastes like.
It was funny is naming the elf Ketsu, because when he said like, "Oh, Ketsu's missing," and I was like, "Wow, I didn't know these elves speak Japanese." Because it's not Japanese for fox.
Is that? Yeah. Well, turns into a fox. Oh, so he threw a knife. It stabbed her, but she's not there, and he's like sniffing the blood on the knife, and he's like, "This smells like that spider creature that we saw at the beginning."
Yeah, and so
it's an illusion. So they're following the drops of blood, and they find all these dead corpses of lady elves.
Of lady elves.
And they're like underground and like
this concept art picture.
Actually, it was really nice, but not the dead people, but like the cool underground city thing.
Yeah, and then they hear like a "help me" in the corner.
So we also get, before we go in there, is Vesemir is like, "You did this to the lady." She's, because it's like a dead city.
Because the sorceresses are the ones that
And so we see the elf that we saw before. He was like, "Help me." He's tied to the wall.
Yeah, it's the elf from the naked bathtub scene at the very beginning. And he's tied to the wall. And they're like, "Oh, you found your missing girls." Which is kind of a dick move, but...
And so he cuts him down. He's like, "Oh, I don't want to have to owe you another favor. You're going to be naked in front of me again. I hate you."
So they see all this like lab equipment around, and they're like, "Oh, they're making monsters in here using the same stuff that is used to make witchers." So they're trying to splice monster DNA with elf DNA to create
illusionary
monsters?
Yeah.
More like monsters with magic, I guess?
I don't know.
But that is what made Ketsu. And they think Ketsu's trying to make all of these.
The girls. She's trying to change the girls to be like her. There is a girl elf that is still alive. Mm-hmm. And Tetra, the sorceress lady, tries to kill her. And everyone's like, "Nope."
Half a monster also, because she has spots on her face or whatever.
She has acne, and so she's monster.
Acne. Yeah, obviously.
Yeah.
And like all teen girls.
the elf actually takes the arrow she shoots in the hand to protect her, and he's like, "I'll take her under my wing," and Vesemir has a knife on Tetra's throat, and he's like, "Don't even. We're not playing this game. Like, you've killed enough of them. Let them go." And he's like, "And if she harms anyone," the elf's like, "I'll kill her myself."
So I
guess the last time we see that elf.
Yeah, it's the last time we see that elf. I guess Ketsu's spliced with that weird spider monster.
Yeah, that creates illusions.
Yeah. So we got that info.
Her magic is powerful. And then he's like, "You need to fix this." And so she causes this huge avalanche that covers...
That destroys that whole city, town, lab.
And then... this bitch.
She has like an interpretive dance.
Yeah, she does. She does like
interpretive dance magic.
It almost reminded me of Avatar a little bit. She's doing some bending.
She's like snow bending.
Yeah. This bitch. Like, Katsu comes up and she's like, "The witchers never hesitate." And so she makes Katsu think that the witcher killed her elf girl.
Oh, yeah. It made me think that
knowing that elf girl is still alive.
She and Ketsu are working together.
Yeah.
But like when the Witcher did kill that elf thing originally, that spoke Elven in the beginning, that the one that killed all the other ones later that she saw was definitely her, I think, trying to frame the Witchers. Probably.
Yeah. I don't like this lady.
Yeah.
And where does the Witcher go?
He goes back to Kaer Morhen.
Oh no, he goes to see his special lady friend.
He does?
Yeah, he's in her house for like a hot second. He like jumps off the
I saw that and I was like, this is the sex scene. This is the sex scene.
I don't know. They do kiss later though, because she's like, "I'm 70." He's like, "Me too."
Guess no sex scene because she's 70. Can't have that in the Witcher world. Even though all Witchers are like 100 or whatever.
He tells her what's up and then dips. And it goes back to, is it Kaer Morhen? Is that?
Kaer Morhen, yeah.
Morhen, not Morgan. Kaer Morhen. Then we see his friend who was arrested with him.
Yeah, and he's about to get executed.
Yeah, he gets his head chopped off.
He gets his head chopped off, and the old lady, I forgot her name. What was it?
Ileana?
Ileana comes over and it's like, "Oh, not all Witchers are bad. You don't have to kill him." This isn't his
She's
fault.
like, don't do this.
Because
Lady
they
Zerfist.
that the sorceress lady told like the king
That
and
they're
all
making
that
monsters.
they're making monsters so that they can sell their services more. So it's all the Witcher's fault.
Yeah,
basically.
It's the same propaganda she's been spouting since the beginning.
So they killed that Witcher and
she's like, well, let's riot. But she's not even there because she's talking
not even there. They're all
getting ready
to storm the castle.
So somehow
kill the beasts.
Kill the beast.
It's just beating the beast, by the
way. She makes the older lady, his girlfriend from the past, makes it to the castle before this lady does.
Yep. Well, the lady had to like get the whole freaking
all
countryside. There's so many people there.
And she's like, hey, they're coming. But also...
Vesemir goes back and goes down to the labs and is like
busting open doors.
He's like, you're selling these to make more monsters, aren't you? And then Declan comes in and is like, yeah, we are. What of it? And then they fight in the middle of the lab before the sorcerer guy shows up and is like, hey, instead of fighting, we have a guest.
Yeah.
And it's the old lady.
It's the old lady.
They're coming.
Get
ready.
He's like, you need to leave. She's like, I'm gonna take these poor children. They're like, they're not children.
They're willing to fight. So and she's like, no.
And their eyes are weird colors.
It's like, no, we're taking them down to the cellar. And
she's like, we'll be there when you guys are done fighting.
So
at first I didn't think that there was that many townspeople.
There's a lot. I feel like she gathered like multiple towns worth of people. But she just hate witchers.
But she also were they sorcerers?
Some of them were sorcerers.
So first line of defense, she's on her horse. They like pop up and they're obviously across the bridge.
The whole kingdom, right? Because it's like the king and stuff. So it could be a lot of people.
And she's gonna do sorcery stuff. And gonna work with Katsu to open portals to have all the swamp creatures that we saw in the training video come to attack.
She's at the secret Witcher swamp.
Yeah. Which I'm like, how do you know about that?
I don't know. Why do the Witchers have a secret training swamp?
How else are you gonna train kids?
I guess. Are they making those monsters?
Oh, maybe that's where they put their...
Maybe that's where they put their for a little bit and then they let one out at a time.
It's like a hunting thing, where it's like...
This is where we breed our monsters.
Mm-hmm. So this was so stupid, where they all have their swords and Declan's like, with me! And then Vesemir's like, put your swords away!
No, but they talk to the bitchy sorceress lady.
Yeah, right? And they're like, you're just a racist. And she's like, you're stupid.
What did she want from them?
She wants them to die.
No, what she asked is because Vesemir's like, we'll stop creating monsters.
Oh yeah, Vesemir's like, I give you my word.
I give you my word. And she's like, Witcher's words mean nothing. And then she's like, what about you, big boy in the back? And then looks at Declan.
You nothing.
And he's like, no, I'm gonna still do it. So
yeah,
you can't stop me. So she's like, all right, then I guess we fight. And so
open the portal. And then they do this thing. It feels like it was like Captain Planet, activate your ring.
It was super weird. They're like, put your swords away. Let's
fight them with laser beams.
Magic punch, laser beam, the monsters. And then also use our swords at the end because there's too many of them.
So they're fighting zombies and flying cat bus things.
That would make more sense if that actually worked. And like a lot of monsters.
I thought they were going to cut the bridge so that they...
Smart. But then all the flying ones would have came in.
Yeah.
That would have been smart.
That's what I thought was going to happen.
Witchers are dumb.
I mean, eventually the bridge does break, but that's because they're crashing the flying monsters into it.
Yeah. So the Witchers are losing.
At first they do pretty good, and then Vesemir gets yeeted by a flying...
Oh yeah, he gets grabbed by a guy and thrown up in the air.
It's like a griffin. I don't know what is that thing, but yeah, he's like shooting it in the hand and...
We lost our main guy, so we're gonna lose the fight.
Yeah, it was not going well.
Basically. Because back down, every Witcher is getting like beheaded.
Yeah, they're like
eaten.
I mean, it was almost like Mortal Kombat, where the guy had like his head, but his spine was attached.
So we have Witchers and the townsfolk and the monsters, and the monsters
are
not attacking the townsfolk.
I think that's because they're using magic
to control the monsters.
Yeah.
Then why doesn't the sorcerers just? I'm so confused by this. The monsters should also be fighting the townsfolk, or they should just be monsters. Yeah. There should be no townsfolk.
So the Witchers are fighting both, and they're not doing great.
They're dying.
They're dying horrible deaths too.
Horrible deaths.
And I think it's funny. Declan comes back and starts killing the townspeople, and they're like shocked. They're like, "Huh? I got stabbed!
I can't believe this."
After like, you just like stomped on this person's face, like,
and then you like cut off their head and put on a spike and are parading around with it. Like, what the heck? So finally, Vesemir comes back, right?
Yeah, and they're like, you have to go after the sorcerer.
Yeah, go after the sorceress, and
because she's gonna kill the sorcerer guy who makes the magic potion that turns the witchers. And he's like, if we do that, then we're done. There's no more of us, so you can't let him die.
Yeah,
and they're in some special room. Yeah, whatever.
Anyway, we cut back to Liliana.
Yeah, Ileana.
And the kids. Ileana and the kids are down in the cellar, and Geralt
she's like,
is like,
you'll be safe here.
There's a little hatch over there that we can get out from in the mountains.
How do you know that? And this other brat kid is like, he tried to escape.
And then he gives like a shit-eating grin.
Yeah, he's just like, whatever.
Yeah. So she's like, okay, keep running and
run
never
until
stop.
Run until you like hit bone and
then keep going.
Keep going. It's like,
so they're like, okay, and then they run.
They all take off, and she shows up somewhere.
She goes and helps Vesemir, I guess. So she walks in.
They're drinking
the main hallway where or the main, like, I don't know, guild hall, drinking room, whatever, where they're all at. Hall. Yeah. And the Tetra's in there with a bunch of knights.
Yeah, they're gonna drink the magic potion. Their witcher potion that turns their eyes black and their skin white.
That makes them really fast.
Yeah. And he's like, the knights in there all have their swords up and they're gonna kill his girlfriend, and he's like, I will kill all of you before they drop their sword an inch. And she's like, bet. And then and then he gets tapped in the forehead by Ketsu. And then he starts having these hallucinations about life with his girlfriend, his older girlfriend. She's like painting a photo of him, and like they have a kid, and then she's like drowning in money in one of them. There's a bunch of different ones.
Yeah, his friend's like head gets cut off and gold, and he's like drinking with them.
He's drinking. That was weird. Because he's like, you're not here. Like, he knows that he like drinks the wine, but it's blood, and he's like, what is this?
What is going on?
He's like, get out of my head.
So he has to kill his like imaginary girlfriend to break the illusion.
Yeah.
And
then he kicks ass.
Then he kills everyone super fast. I like that he picks Ketsu up by the hair and throws her at the sorceress. The sorceress is like creating portals and like throwing him in them and like shooting stuff in the portals.
And she's going through the portals too. And then you see the girlfriend kind of sneak off to the side.
Yeah.
And they're fighting. Eventually
he thinks that he's killed. He loses a hand.
Yeah.
And he thinks that he's killed Tetra.
He's like stabs her with the sword. What does he do to Ketsu?
Ketsu he doesn't stab until later, I thought. No, he doesn't. He just stabbed Ketsu.
It was like one after the other.
Yeah.
And then someone gets an axe in the back.
He like
Devlin shows up.
Chopped off what he thought was Tetra's head, but it turns out that it was the herbalist guy. Not herbalist guy, but the sorcerer.
Yeah.
He accidentally killed the sorcerer.
So this is all, you find out it's all an illusion, and that he actually stabbed his girlfriend.
And he killed the
and then the real sorceress lady walks in, and she's
the guy that they've been trying not to kill.
I knew, I never thought that she could be so powerful. And then Declan throws an axe in her back because she was not paying attention to him. And then
he says that, before that, the sorceress lady, before she gets axed in the back.
Oh yeah, we find out why
she hates witchers. Bitch. It's because her mom was that.
The story that she told, which her mom was a sorceress, so her mom was making that guy sick.
Well, no, the chef was.
No.
Really?
Yeah. She's like, just because the stupid minister, she was making him sick. And so he did his job and got paid for it. But because it was her mom and she was hiding in the cupboard when he did it, she hates witchers.
Anyway, she dies.
Good.
She's dead.
And then he's got his dying girlfriend and then his dying mentor. And he's like, Go, you are the last one.
Go find those boys and make them better witchers than I could.
His girlfriend's like, they're still alive. They ran away.
They ran away.
He's like, you are the last. You have to train them. And then he
sees Ketsu as a fox.
She's in the ceiling, and she's
he was about to kill, and then his girlfriend's like,
she didn't choose this.
Yeah, leave it alone. It's fine. So the whole place is falling down and on fire, and he decides to go, and
he goes to the spot where they were as kids, dreaming about their lake house.
And he takes the snow away with his magic hot witcher powers.
Breaks the ice so that she can see the water. It's so beautiful.
It's so
and then
beautiful.
She dies, and he cries.
And then he goes finally to see those kids.
These kids are like,
where are we even gonna go?
And then he pulls up on a horse, and then he has the bag of the medallions, and then
he's like, make a choice. He gives them a choice.
This is the last time that you can hesitate. And they all take it, right?
Yeah, they all take it. Like, what are they gonna do?
And that's where you find out that the bald kid,
yeah. So the kid actually was blonde. And then I guess that, because according to the lore, the poisoning is what made his hair go white. So I guess he just lost all his hair. Grew back white.
Bald kid.
So that was Geralt.
The end.
The end.
And now the castle's destroyed because stupid
lady.
And
it will get destroyed again. So.
Yeah. And again.
And it will never stop.
So that's it. That's the end.
That's it. And it was okay.
Yeah, it was actually, I mean, it's...
As far as Witcher stuff goes, I didn't hate it that much.
Yeah, it was entertaining, and you didn't have to know a lot of the lore. Yeah, obviously, if you knew some of it, then you got the
introduction to The Witcher. It lets you know about the elves and the problem, and also, like, what goes into being a Witcher, which is honestly, like, a big question all the time. You're like, what?
Yeah.
What's up with these guys?
Poisoned. On purpose.
Yeah, it's good.
Yeah.
Well, we'll see you when we talk about the books, I guess.
Yeah.
We'll see when this episode comes out.
All right. Thanks. See you later.
Bye.